I want to talk about when truth loses its appeal, or when truth loses its attraction, or loses its desirability. You know, I don't know who said honesty is the best policy, but they must be rolling over in their graves right about now. And I believe that honesty is the best policy. But nowadays, this day in America, it is not the preferred policy. This is my take. So don't hate. All right? No hating allowed. Good Thursday morning. Good rainy, wet Thursday morning to you. Welcome to another episode of My Take on this Thursday, October the 7th, 2021. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made many memorable and powerful statements, and some of which were quotes of theologians and philosophers from around the world. And in today's climate, there are a couple of them that came to my mind from one of his speeches that he made. There are two that come to mind and that stand out in my mind. One was a quote from Thomas Carlyle, who said, "No lie can live forever." And another by William Cullen Bryant, who said, "Truth crushed to earth will rise again." Now, King mentioned them both, as a matter of fact, in the same speech, following a question of how long? How long? And he answered, not long. Okay? I mean, that was a time when truth was desired. Truth was honored. And truth was, there was a time that truth was required, demanded and required. And I won't say that truth has lost its appeal completely, but certainly it is in decline here in America, in our current society. To lose one's appeal is to lose your attraction. When we talk about truth, it means that we are losing our desire for truth. We no longer demand truth, and it's no longer pleasing and attractive to our ears and to our hearts and to our soul. Truth is losing its appeal. We'll come to a place where it seems that we would rather tell a lie and hear a lie than to tell and hear the truth. Seems that we have more faith and more confidence in a lie, and we use a lie seemingly more than we would even call on the truth. For many, the truth is no longer credible. Can you imagine that? It's considered a disadvantage. So instead of preserving the truth, we are slowly turning to lying and slowly turning to dishonesty as a way of life and as the preferred way of doing business, whether in the business world or in the political world. You know, I think we are actually witnessing right now the crushing of the truth. And we're in desperate need for it to rise again. And we all are likely to see truth rise again. We would like to see it rise again, but just not on our watch. Nobody likes to be lied to, but some of the same ones that claim to detest liars and lying, they have no problem lying when it's thought it will benefit them. You know, there's something terribly wrong with a people or a system or a nation that says it's okay for them to lie, or they would say for us to lie, but it's not okay for you to lie. I mean, when a government routinely and so-called legally lies to the people, but will punish the people for lying, we have some issues that we need to address. We teach our children to tell the truth. That's the way we raise our children. That's the way my mother raised us. And yet, we witness lying and liars every day. And lying is either wrong or it isn't. What is it? Is it right or is it wrong? Even among the people, it's acceptable for some people to lie, while for others it could mean the loss of access, loss of opportunities, loss of resources, or sometimes even banishment for life from certain circles of life. When truth loses its appeal, something happens to a person, something happens to a family, to a people. And something happens to a nation when truth loses its appeal. There's a process of decay that begins when truth loses its appeal. That's the beginning of the failure, and that's the beginning of the fall of a people and of a nation. It says something about where we are as a people, and it doesn't speak well of us. It doesn't speak well of us at all. When media and institutions become giant mechanisms for lying, it spells trouble for America. It spells trouble for individuals. It spells trouble for families. Without truth and without honesty, without trust, no relationship is safe. No government is safe. And no people are safe. Not even the Constitution of the United States of America is safe without truth and honesty and trust. When lies and dishonesty prevails in a society, what happens to the educational system? What if we can't trust science, or if we can't trust history? What happens to a society when our educational system is placed in jeopardy? What if we can't trust what the doctors say? If we can't trust what our parents tell us? When media giants, talk shows, and other media outlets abuse their freedom of speech to spread and to promote lies, to promote propaganda, and to promote conspiracy theories that they know are not true. They know it's not true. It means we have failed the American people. It means that we have failed our nation. You know, we depend on the media. We depend on the news media and other media. We depend on them to root out corruption, to expose lies and dishonesty. But instead, they twist or spin the truth and fabricate what they want to present to the American people. You know, I said before that they are not reporting news, they're trying to make news. And the result is that they have created their own brand of corruption. When for the sake of profit, for money, ad agencies and marketing companies, without any regard for the truth or the danger of lies, when they will print and promote and present whatever your money can buy, we are in trouble, my friend. It should be cause for concern. As a matter of fact, not only cause for concern, but it should be cause for alarm for all of us to see what is happening to us. When we clearly see there is this insatiable desire and attraction to lies. We have now created a culture of lying and a society of liars that on the surface appears to be what's holding it all together. But the foundation is rotting, decaying. It is like a surface that underneath has been washed away. And the collapse or the sinkhole will happen at any moment. We think we're standing on solid ground when we're not. So much of our system, so much of our society depend on trust and honesty, without which we cannot prosper or realize real progress in our society. Have you ever thought about how much our life is controlled by mere words that we call rules and regulations and laws, that were not for our honesty, for our truthfulness to ourselves as well as to others? There would be chaos. Without truth, without honesty, what would happen to marriages and relationships and friendships? What would happen if we didn't have truth? If we couldn't trust truth? Without truth and honesty, what would happen to America and the millions of jobs that depend on the people, the employees, being truthful and being honest, or even the supervisors and the managers being truthful and honest? Without truth and honesty, what would happen to all the preachers, the churches, the places of worship, What would happen to our salvation and our spiritual beliefs without truth? If truth was losing its appeal, what would happen there? Even the Bible says of Christ and the resurrection. Now, if Christ be preached that he rose from the dead, how say some among you that there is no resurrection of the dead? But if there be no resurrection of the dead, then is Christ not risen? And if Christ be not risen, then is our preaching vain, and your faith is also vain. In other words, it says, if our preaching, if our religion is built on a lie, what is the point? Truth is not to be taken for granted. Truth is not to be abused or dishonored. Truth is an integral and essential part of our success and our survival as a nation and even as a people, without which nothing is safe. No one is safe. We are doomed to death and destruction if truth continues to lose its appeal. Without truth and honesty, there can be no decency. There can be no organization or order in our society. There can be no trust without truth. There wouldn't even be anything that we could call society or government or civilization if truth were to lose its appeal, or I should say, continue to lose its appeal. Look around America. Where are we? What have we come to, and what has become of us? With the current trend, what are our chances of survival? Are we just now learning what has been hidden for years? Is it possible that we are a nation built, so to speak, on lies? Are the chickens now coming home to roost? Have we justified our lies and our lying as being necessary for the sake of progress and for the sake of national security? You know, we blame so many lies on that. How do we stop and reverse this trend? How do we get our families and how do we get our nation under control and set on a solid foundation? A foundation of truth, honesty, and trust and integrity. How do we get to where we should be, or where we should have been all along? You know, do we have to challenge everybody? Do we have to start a new trend in America and swear everybody in every day? Ask them, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Is that what we need to tell our children every day before they leave home? Tell our employees as soon as they get to work? Is that the way we need to start our day? By swearing one another in? You know, maybe that would be a good practice for would-be politicians and public servants. You know, should polygraph exams be administered prior to a couple walking into the chapel? Prior to them walking in to get married? Should we put them on a machine there, polygraph test them? Are we at the place where it becomes necessary to administer a polygraph exam every day as people leave their jobs? I'm asking you. And I hear what you're probably saying. Ridiculous. Ridiculous? Far-fetched. Far-fetched? No way, you say. Oh, way. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Let me ask you something, America. Are we defenders of the truth, or are we promoters of lies? That's my take. What do you have to say? Sound off, but tell the truth. Yeah.